The parking lot asphalt was still warm under my feet as I walked toward my truck, every muscle in my body screaming from another week of sleeping 3 hours a night. That's when I heard it, footsteps pounding behind me, getting closer. "SOPHIA, SOPHIA, wait." Victor Finch's voice cracked like he'd swallowed glass. I didn't turn around. My hand was already on the truck door handle, my resignation email sent exactly 4 minutes ago. The same email that was currently sitting in the inboxes of our CEO, the entire executive board, and half the senior leadership team. The same email with an attachment showing our Q4 revenue numbers, $394 million, right next to a photograph of an $8 coffee shop voucher. My name's Sophia Walsh, and until about 5 minutes ago, I was the Senior Portfolio Director at Clearwater Financial Solutions. That title sounds impressive, right? It should. I'd earned it through 6 years of dragging this company from mediocre performance to record-breaking quarters. I'd built systems, managed teams across 4 time zones, and personally closed deals that made our competitors physically ill. But here's what that title really meant. I was the person they called at 2 in the morning when a deal was falling apart. I was the one who missed my anniversary dinner because a client in Singapore needed hand-holding. I was the one who hadn't taken a real vacation in 3 years because nobody else understands these accounts like you do, Sophia. Victor's footsteps were getting closer. I could hear him gasping for air. He wasn't exactly the athletic type. Probably the most exercise he'd gotten all year was walking from his corner office to the executive dining room. I threw my bag into the passenger seat and finally turned around. He was bent over, hands on his knees, his face the color of a ripe tomato. His tie was crooked, and there was a coffee stain on his shirt that I was pretty sure had been there since our morning meeting. The morning meeting where he'd handed me that voucher. You can't just, he wheezed, you can't just leave like this. I crossed my arms and leaned against my truck. The metal was hot through my blazer, but I didn't care. I'd been burning up from the inside for months now anyway. What was a little external heat? Actually, Victor, I can. It's called at-will employment. Works both ways, remember? You love reminding people of that during layoff season. His face went from tomato red to something closer to purple. You sent that email to everyone. Do you have any idea what you've done? I did know. That's exactly why I'd done it. But let me back up and tell you how I got here, standing in a parking lot watching my former director have what appeared to be a minor cardiac event. 3 months ago, our CEO, Arthur Pemberton, announced the most ambitious expansion in company history. Clearwater was going to acquire 2 smaller firms, launch a new tech platform, and break into 3 new markets simultaneously. It was aggressive, maybe even reckless, but the potential payoff was enormous. Arthur stood in front of the entire company during an all-hands meeting and said, "This is going to require sacrifice from all of us. But when we pull this off, everyone who contributed will be rewarded beyond their expectations." Everyone nodded, everyone applauded, everyone went back to their desks and prepared for the storm. Except the storm that hit my department wasn't just bad weather. It was a Category 5 hurricane that lasted 12 weeks straight. My team of 8 people was suddenly managing the work that should have required 20. 2 people quit in the first month. Victor didn't let me backfill their positions. "We need to stay lean during the transition," he said. "It's temporary." Temporary? That word should be banned from corporate vocabulary. I started working longer hours. 70-hour weeks became 80-hour weeks. 80 became 90. My husband Jack would leave for work at 7 in the morning, and I'd already be on my second conference call. He'd come home at 6, and I'd still be typing away, building financial models, reviewing contracts, managing crisis after crisis. He'd go to bed at 11, and I'd still be awake, the blue light from my laptop the only illumination in our home office. "Sophia, this isn't sustainable," he told me one night around week 7. He was standing in the doorway in his pajamas, holding a cup of chamomile tea he'd made for me. It had probably gone cold an hour ago, while I finished a presentation for the Japanese market entry. "I know," I said, not looking up from my screen. "Just a few more weeks, once the acquisition closes." "You said that 3 weeks ago." He was right, I had said that, But what was I supposed to do? My team was drowning. The clients were demanding. Victor was breathing down my neck for updates every 6 hours. Someone had to hold it all together. Jack set the tea down on my desk, carefully moving a stack of file folders so he wouldn't spill on them. That small gesture of care made my throat tight. When was the last time I'd actually had a conversation with my husband that wasn't me mumbling responses while staring at spreadsheets? "Baby, I'm worried about you," he said quietly. "You're running on fumes. Yesterday you fell asleep standing up while brushing your teeth." I'd laughed it off then, but he wasn't wrong. I was falling apart in slow motion. My skin had broken out like I was a teenager again. I'd started getting tension headaches that felt like someone was driving a railroad spike through my left eye. I'd lost weight because I kept forgetting to eat meals, just grabbing whatever was easiest, usually coffee and whatever granola bars we had lying around. But the worst part? I'd started to feel like this was normal, like this was just what success required. Victor certainly seemed to think so. Every time I flagged that we were understaffed, he'd give me the same response. "High performers don't make excuses, Sophia. They find solutions." So I found solutions. I automated parts of my workflow. I trained my remaining team members to handle more complex tasks. I personally took on the work of 3 people. And somehow, impossibly, we didn't just survive, we crushed it. The acquisition closed ahead of schedule. The tech platform launched with minimal issues. We secured major clients in all 3 new markets within the first month. Our Q4 numbers didn't just meet projections, we exceeded them by 47%. $394 million in revenue, the highest quarter in company history. I knew these numbers intimately because I'd built the models that made them possible. I'd been on the calls that closed the deals. I'd worked 96 hours in a single week during the final push to get the tech platform launched on time. 96 hours. That's not a typo. I tracked it because part of me didn't believe it was possible until I saw it written down. Monday, 18 hours. Tuesday, 21 hours. Wednesday, 19 hours. Thursday, 22 hours. Friday, 16 hours, and that was only because I physically passed out at my desk around midnight and Jack came into the office and dragged me to bed. When I woke up Saturday morning, every part of my body hurt. Not sore like after a workout, hurt like I'd been in a car accident. My hands were cramping from typing. My neck was frozen from hunching over my laptop. My eyes were so dry and irritated I could barely open them. Jack brought me breakfast in bed, scrambled eggs, toast, orange juice. He sat on the edge of the bed and watched me eat with this expression I couldn't quite read. "What?" I asked, my mouth full of eggs. "I'm just trying to figure out if this is worth it," he said. "Whatever they're going to give you as a bonus for these last few months, is it worth what this is doing to you?" I didn't have an answer, but I thought about Arthur's promise. Everyone who contributed will be rewarded beyond their expectations. My expectations were pretty high. I'd personally generated somewhere around 80 million of that 394 million in revenue. Conservative estimate, my work had probably earned the company somewhere in the range of pure profit that would make a normal person's head spin. A week later, Arthur sent out another company-wide email. The subject line read, "Record quarter celebration and gratitude." My heart picked up speed as I opened it. This was it. This was where they'd announce the bonuses, the promotions, the rewards for everyone who'd sacrificed so much. The email was 3 paragraphs of corporate congratulations, lots of words like synergy and stakeholder value and operational excellence. And then, at the bottom, department heads will be recognizing team members individually for their contributions. Thank you for your continued dedication. That was it. No mention of bonuses. No announcement of promotions, just a vague statement about department heads doing recognition. I sat back in my chair and stared at the email. Around me, I could hear my team members reacting. Someone laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. Someone else muttered something I couldn't quite hear, but could definitely understand the sentiment of. "Well," said Todd, one of my senior analysts, "I guess we're getting bagels in the break room or something." He wasn't far off. 2 days later, Victor sent out a meeting invitation. Q4 Performance Recognition Portfolio Team. It was scheduled for 4 o'clock on a Friday afternoon, always a great sign. Nothing important ever happens at 4 o'clock on a Friday. The meeting was in one of the small conference rooms, the kind with no windows and fluorescent lighting that made everyone look vaguely ill. My team filed in, and you could feel the exhaustion coming off everyone in waves. Todd had dark circles under his eyes that looked like bruises. Amy, my lead account manager, had started bringing her laptop to the bathroom because she was on calls so constantly she couldn't afford normal breaks. Greg had missed his daughter's school play. Stephanie had postponed her wedding by 6 months because there was no way she could take time off for a honeymoon. These people had given everything, we all had. Victor walked in carrying a small shopping bag, the kind you get from chain coffee shops. He was smiling, which should have been my first warning sign. Victor only smiled when he was about to deliver news he knew was bad, but was going to pretend was good. "Team," he said, setting the bag down on the conference table. "I wanted to personally thank each of you for your extraordinary efforts this quarter. What we accomplished together is nothing short of remarkable." We'd heard this before, the corporate gratitude speech. I glanced at Todd, who was methodically clicking a pen, his face carefully neutral. "The executive team is thrilled with our performance," Victor continued. "And while we can't do major compensation adjustments outside of the normal review cycle." There it was, the catch. There's always a catch. "I wanted to do something to show my appreciation for each of you." He reached into the shopping bag and started pulling out small envelopes. He walked around the table, handing one to each person. When he got to me, he pressed the envelope into my hand and actually patted me on the shoulder. "Especially you, Sophia. Your leadership during this period was exceptional." I opened the envelope. Inside was a gift card to the coffee shop 3 blocks from our office. I turned it over. $8. $8. I looked up and saw my team members opening their envelopes. Same thing. Everyone got an $8 coffee shop voucher. "I know it's small," Victor said, and at least he had the decency to sound slightly embarrassed, "but I wanted you all to be able to treat yourselves. Appreciate the little things, right?" The silence in that room was deafening. Amy was staring at her voucher like it might spontaneously combust. Greg's jaw was clenched so tight I thought he might crack a tooth. Stephanie looked like she was going to cry. And something inside me just snapped. Not visibly. I didn't throw the voucher at Victor's head, though the thought crossed my mind. I didn't scream or storm out. I smiled. A real, genuine smile that probably looked slightly unhinged if I'm being honest. "You're absolutely right, Victor," I said. "We should appreciate the little things." He looked relieved. "Exactly, it's the thought that counts." The thought that our 96-hour weeks, our missed family time, our physical and mental health, our record-breaking performance that earned the company nearly $400 million. All of that was worth $8. The meeting ended. Everyone shuffled out, clutching their vouchers like they were evidence at a crime scene, which, in a way, they were. I went back to my desk and sat down. My hands were shaking, but not from exhaustion this time. From rage, pure, crystallized rage that I'd been too tired to properly feel for the past 3 months. This wasn't just about the money, though that was insulting enough. It was about what that voucher represented. It was about being told my value to this company could be measured in the cost of 2 lattes. It was about working myself into the ground and being patted on the head like a good dog who'd learned a new trick. I'd given them everything, and they'd given me $8. I thought about Arthur's promise again, rewarded beyond their expectations. Well, he was technically right. I certainly hadn't expected $8. I'd expected literally anything else. My phone buzzed, a text from Jack. "Coming home for dinner tonight? Made your favorite." When was the last time I'd been home for dinner? When was the last time I'd seen my husband for more than a few groggy minutes in the morning? I looked at the voucher sitting on my desk. Then I looked at my laptop screen, at the financial dashboard that showed our Q4 numbers in real time. $394 million. I knew exactly what I needed to do. I opened my email and started a new message. The to line got Victor's email address, but the CC line, that's where it got interesting. Arthur Pemberton, CEO, Diane Foster, CFO, the entire executive committee, the board liaison, HR director. Every single person who'd been forwarding around congratulatory emails about our record quarter. Subject line, resignation effective immediately. My fingers flew across the keyboard, no corporate speak, no polite fictions, just the truth, clean and sharp. Dear Victor, I'm writing to inform you of my resignation from Clearwater Financial Solutions, effective immediately. I'm attaching 2 items to this email. The first is our Q4 revenue report, which shows record-breaking performance of $394 million. The second is a photograph of the $8 coffee shop voucher I received today as recognition for my contribution to these numbers. During the last quarter, I worked an average of 87 hours per week. In the final week of the tech platform launch, I worked 96 hours. I managed a team that was understaffed by 60% while taking on the responsibilities of 3 senior-level positions. I personally closed deals representing approximately $80 million in revenue. I did this while being told repeatedly that high performers don't make excuses. You're right about one thing, Victor. We should appreciate the little things. So I'm appreciating the little time I have left with my health, my marriage, and my self-respect by choosing to no longer spend it at this company. I appreciate the little reminder that no matter how much value I create, I will be valued at approximately $8. I appreciate the little insight into what leadership actually thinks about the people who make their bonuses possible. And I especially appreciate this little opportunity to share that insight with everyone CC'd on this email. My laptop, badge, and corporate credit card will be on my desk. Feel free to use my remaining PTO to pay out my final check, though I'm sure an $8 voucher would be easier for accounting. Best regards and appreciation for all the little things. Sophia Walsh. I attached the revenue report. Then I picked up the voucher, took a photo of it with my phone, and attached that too. The contrast was beautiful in its obscenity, hundreds of millions in one file, $8 in the other. My cursor hovered over the send button for maybe half a second, then I clicked it. The swoosh sound of the email sending was the most satisfying noise I'd ever heard. I stood up from my desk. Around me, the office was still buzzing with end-of-day activity. People on calls, typing away, living their normal corporate Friday afternoon. None of them knew that several executive email inboxes had just received a grenade. I gathered my personal items. Not much, really. A photo of Jack and me from our honeymoon in Colorado. A coffee mug my team had given me for my birthday. A small succulent plant that had somehow survived my neglect. Everything fit in my shoulder bag easily. 6 years at this company, and my entire presence could be erased in 90 seconds. I left my laptop on the desk, screen still open to that financial dashboard. My badge went next to it, corporate credit card on top, a little shrine to everything I was leaving behind. Todd looked up as I walked past his desk, heading out. Yeah, I said. For good, actually, I just quit. His eyes went wide. Wait, what? I sent my resignation about 3 minutes ago. You'll probably want to update your resume. Things are about to get weird around here. I didn't wait for his response. I just headed for the elevator, my bag over my shoulder, feeling lighter with every step. The elevator ride down from the 14th floor felt like shedding layers of old skin. By the time I reached the lobby, I was almost giddy. The late afternoon sun hit me as I walked out of the building, and the warmth felt different than it had that morning. That morning, I dragged myself in here already exhausted, dreading another day. Now I was walking out, unemployed and uncertain, and I felt more alive than I had in months. The parking lot stretched out in front of me. My truck was in the far corner, where I always parked because I got here early enough to have my pick of spots. Not anymore. Someone else could have that spot now. I was halfway across the parking lot when I heard the building doors slam open behind me. Esopia Chaye. Victor's voice. I didn't turn around, I kept walking. Esopia Chaye, wait. The footsteps started, fast, getting closer. I could hear him breathing hard, he was running. I almost laughed. Victor running. That was worth turning around to see. So I did. I got to my truck, threw my bag inside, and turned to face him. He was a mess. Face red, tie askew, that coffee stain even more prominent now that he was sweating through his shirt. He skidded to a stop about 6 feet from me, gasping for air. You can't just leave like this. I crossed my arms. Actually, Victor, I can. It's called at-will employment. Works both ways, remember. You sent that email to everyone. He wasn't asking. His phone was in his hand, screen lit up. I could see the email notification from here. I did. Do you have any idea what you've done? Made sure everyone knows exactly how this company treats its top performers. His face somehow got redder. You've embarrassed me. You've embarrassed the entire leadership team. Arthur's already called me twice. Diane wants a meeting first thing Monday morning. Sounds like a rough weekend for you. This is completely unprofessional. And that's when I started laughing. I couldn't help it. The absurdity of it all just hit me at once. Unprofessional? I said. Victor, you gave me an $8 voucher after I worked 96 hours in 1 week. You told me to appreciate the little things while the executives are probably planning their bonus trips to Aspen right now. You want to talk about unprofessional? The voucher was a gesture, he sputtered. I have budget constraints. You know how these things work. Bonuses get decided at the executive level, not by department heads. So you thought $8 was better than nothing. You thought that was a good idea. I thought, he stopped, seeming to realize he didn't have a good answer. Look, Sophia, you're upset, I get it. Take the weekend. On Monday, we can talk about this. I'm sure we can work something out. Work what out? You're going to suddenly triple my salary? Give me the team resources I've been begging for. Acknowledge that you've been running us into the ground. We can discuss. No, I said firmly. We can't, because I'm done discussing. I'm done explaining. I'm done managing up while being treated like I'm worth $8. I'm just done, Victor. He changed tactics, his voice dropping to something that was probably supposed to sound concerned. Think about your career, Sophia. If you walk away like this, if you leave that email out there for everyone to see, you'll get a reputation. People talk. This industry is smaller than you think. There it was, the veiled threat. The suggestion that speaking the truth about how I'd been treated would somehow be worse for me than for the company that had exploited me. You know what? I said. I hope people talk. I hope every talented person thinking about working here hears exactly what happened. I hope your next hire asks you about it in the interview. I hope Arthur has to explain to the board why his record quarter came with a mass exodus of the people who made it possible. Mass exodus? Victor's eyes widened. Who else is leaving? I shrugged. No idea, but if I were you, I'd check my inbox Monday morning. I'm guessing at least a few people on my team are updating their resumes this weekend. That wasn't entirely speculation. I'd seen the look on Todd's face, on Amy's, on all of them. That voucher hadn't just insulted me, it had insulted everyone. And my email had just shown them that speaking up was possible. Victor pulled out his phone. I'm calling Arthur. We can fix this. We can make you a counteroffer. Save your breath. There's no counteroffer that makes up for 3 months of being ground into dust. There's no amount of money that gives me back the time I lost with my husband, or the sleep I didn't get, or the health issues I'm probably going to be dealing with for months. Everyone works hard here, Sophia. That's the culture. That's what it takes to succeed. No, I said. That's what it takes to burn out. There's a difference between working hard and being exploited. I'm just sorry it took me this long to see it. I turned to get in my truck. Victor grabbed my arm. Wait, just wait, please. I looked down at his hand on my arm, then back up at his face. He let go immediately. What do you want, Victor? I want you to understand that I fought for you, he said, and for the first time, he sounded genuine. I went to Arthur. I told him you deserved a promotion, a major bonus. But the executive team decided all the extra profits from Q4 needed to be reinvested in the expansion. They said compensation adjustments would come in the next fiscal year. So you knew the bonuses weren't coming, and you gave us $8 vouchers instead of just being honest about it. I was trying to do something positive. I was trying to show appreciation with what I had available. You had honesty available, Victor. You could have told us the truth. You could have said, look, I know you all killed yourselves this quarter, and the executives are choosing to reinvest the profits instead of rewarding you. I think that's wrong, but it's out of my hands. That would have been something. That would have been respect. He deflated, his shoulders sagging. You're right, I should have been honest. I didn't want everyone to get demoralized. Well, mission accomplished on that front anyway. We stood there in the parking lot, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows. Victor looked smaller somehow, less like the intimidating director, and more like what he actually was, a middle manager stuck between impossible expectations from above and exhausted employees below. I almost felt sorry for him, almost. For what it's worth, he said quietly, you were the best director I ever managed. This department won't be the same without you. You're right, I said. It'll probably collapse within a month. I didn't say it to be cruel. It was just true. I'd been the load-bearing wall holding everything up. Without me, the structural problems I'd been masking through sheer force of will were going to become real obvious, real fast. I got in my truck. Victor stood there, watching me. I started the engine, and the air conditioning hit me like a blessing. How long had it been since I'd left work while it was still light out? I rolled down the window. One more thing, Victor. He looked up hopefully, like maybe I was about to say this was all a big mistake. That $8 voucher? I'm going to frame it. Put it up in my home office as a reminder to never again mistake my value for what someone else decides to pay me. I drove away and didn't look back. The drive home was only 20 minutes, but it felt like crossing into a different world. I called Jack from the car. Hey, baby, he answered. You coming home for dinner? Yeah, I said, and my voice cracked a little. I'm coming home, and I just quit my job. Silence, then. Okay, we'll talk when you get here. Drive safe. No panic, no anger, just acceptance. That's Jack. That's why I married him. When I pulled into our driveway, he was waiting on the porch. I got out of the truck, and he wrapped me in a hug before I even made it to the steps. You okay? He asked into my hair. I will be, I said, and I meant it. We went inside. He'd made lasagna, my actual favorite, not the sad desk lunches I'd been calling meals for months. We sat at our dining room table, when was the last time we'd done that, and I told him everything. The voucher. The email, Victor chasing me through the parking lot. Jack listened to all of it, occasionally shaking his head or squeezing my hand. When I finished, he was quiet for a minute. You know we'll be fine, right? He finally said. Financially, I mean, my salary covers the mortgage. We've got savings. You can take your time finding something better. I know, I said. I should have quit months ago. Probably, he agreed. But you're out now, that's what matters. We spent the evening doing absolutely nothing productive. Watched a movie. Ate ice cream straight from the container. Went to bed at a reasonable hour. I slept for 11 hours straight, and when I woke up Saturday morning, my phone had 47 notifications. Emails, texts, LinkedIn messages, some from former colleagues offering support, some from recruiters who'd somehow already heard I was available. 3 from my team members, Todd, Amy, and Stephanie, all saying some version of I put in my notice this morning. And 1 from a number I didn't recognize. I opened it. Miss Walsh, this is Andrew Morrison from Morrison and Associates Executive Search. I represent several companies who would be very interested in speaking with you about senior leadership positions. When you're ready, I'd love to discuss opportunities. Also, for what it's worth, that email was the most spectacular resignation I've seen in 20 years of recruiting. I showed the text to Jack. He grinned. Told you, you're going to be fine. But the most interesting message came Monday morning. I was sitting on our back porch with actual coffee, not the burnt office sludge I'd been surviving on, when my phone rang. Unknown number with a local area code. Hello. Sophia Walsh, a woman's voice, professional but warm. Speaking. My name's Olivia Reyes. I'm on the board of directors at Clearwater. Do you have a few minutes to talk? My first instinct was to hang up. Whatever damage control the board wanted to do, I wasn't interested. But something in her tone made me pause. I'm listening, I said. First, I want to apologize. Your resignation email was forwarded to the full board Saturday morning, and we've spent the weekend doing an emergency review of compensation practices and management structures. What happened to you and your team was unacceptable. Okay, I said slowly, and you're calling me because? Because we're cleaning house. Arthur Pemberton is being asked to step down. We're bringing in an interim CEO and conducting a full audit of every department. Victor Finch has already been reassigned, pending further review. And we want to offer you your position back, with a significant compensation package and guaranteed resources. I actually laughed. You're kidding. I'm not. Sophia, your email opened our eyes to some serious cultural issues we'd been blind to. 3 other departments have come forward with similar complaints since Friday. You started something important. That's great, I said, but I'm not coming back. Silence on the other end. Can I ask why? We're prepared to offer you a VP title, full team autonomy, and a compensation package that I think you'll find very competitive. Because it shouldn't have taken me publicly shaming the company for anyone to notice the problem. Because I had to reach my breaking point before anyone cared. And honestly, because I don't trust that anything will actually change long-term. You'll bring in some consultants, everyone will do some training modules, and in 6 months it'll be right back to the same toxic culture. Olivia was quiet for a moment. You're probably right, she said finally, but some of us are going to try anyway, and if you change your mind, my door's open. We hung up. I sat there looking at my phone, processing what had just happened. The board was actually responding. People were being held accountable. It wasn't just me screaming into the void. My phone buzzed again. This time it was a text from Amy. You need to see this. She'd sent a link to an industry news site. The headline read, Clearwater Financial in Crisis After Senior Director's Scathing Resignation Goes Viral. The article had screenshots of my email. Someone had leaked it beyond just internal distribution. The comments section was exploding. Current employees sharing their own stories. Former employees saying they weren't surprised. Competitors' recruiters subtly advertising their better work cultures. And then I saw it. A comment from someone with a verified industry professional badge. I was about to accept an offer from Clearwater. Just withdrew my acceptance. Thank you, Sophia Walsh, for the warning. My resignation had become a case study, a cautionary tale, and apparently a catalyst for change I hadn't expected. Over the next week, I had conversations with 5 different companies. Real conversations where they asked about my philosophy on team management and work-life balance, where they talked about adequate staffing and reasonable expectations, where they treated me like a valuable human being, not a resource to be extracted dry. But the most interesting conversation happened on a Tuesday afternoon. I was at a coffee shop, ironically spending way more than $8 on a fancy latte, when someone approached my table. Sophia Walsh. I looked up. The man was probably mid-50s, expensive suit, confident posture. He looked vaguely familiar. Yes. James Rothman. I'm the CEO of Titanium Capital Group. We're one of Clearwater's biggest competitors. Mind if I sit? This should have been my second coffee shop confrontation of the week, but instead of aggressive, James seemed genuinely respectful. He sat down across from me and got straight to the point. Your email cost Clearwater 3 major clients. 2 of them came to us. They specifically mentioned that if the company treated their top talent that poorly, they didn't trust them to handle major accounts with the necessary attention. I sipped my latte, and you're telling me this because I want to make sure you know your worth. What Clearwater did was short-sighted and frankly stupid. You're exactly the kind of leader we build our company around, so I'm here to make you an offer. He slid a folder across the table. I opened it. The title at the top read, VP of Strategic Development, Proposed Compensation Package. The base salary made my eyes widen. It was 60% higher than what I'd been making at Clearwater. But it wasn't just the money, it was everything else. Equity package, performance bonuses tied to reasonable metrics, a clause guaranteeing adequate team staffing, 25 days of PTO, with a requirement that I actually use it. And at the bottom, handwritten, Your value isn't measured in coffee vouchers. I looked up at James. He was smiling slightly. That last part was my assistant's idea. She saw your email and insisted I add it. This is a serious offer. Completely serious. I've built Titanium on the principle that if you take care of your people, they'll take care of the business. Revolutionary concept, I know. I thought about it for exactly 10 seconds. When can I start? His smile widened. How about 3 weeks? Give yourself some actual time off first. We shook on it right there in the coffee shop. James left, and I sat there staring at the folder, feeling like I'd just stepped into an alternate universe where companies actually valued their employees. I accepted the offer that evening. Started 3 weeks later. My first day, they had flowers on my desk and a welcome basket with actually nice stuff, not vouchers, but a high-end water bottle, quality coffee, a handwritten note from James. The note said, "We're thrilled to have you. Your reputation for excellence preceded you. Looking forward to building something great together, sustainably." Sustainably, what a concept. But here's where things got really interesting. About 6 weeks into my new role, I got an email from someone named Alexis Porter. Subject line, "Thank you for your courage." I didn't recognize the name, but I opened it anyway. "Dear Miss Walsh, you don't know me, but I work in the finance industry in Atlanta. Your resignation email was forwarded to me by a friend, and it gave me the courage to leave my own toxic situation. I'd been working 70-hour weeks for a director who took credit for my work and blamed me for his mistakes. I kept telling myself it would get better, that I just needed to prove myself more. Your email made me realize I was enough, and the problem wasn't me. I quit last month and just started at a company that actually respects work-life balance. I wanted to say thank you for showing me it was possible to stand up for myself." I sat back in my chair, reading the email 3 times. This stranger in Atlanta had been inspired by my breaking point. How many others were out there? I found out the answer pretty quickly. Over the next few months, I received dozens of similar messages. People who'd quit bad jobs, people who'd negotiated better conditions, people who'd simply started setting boundaries because my story showed them it was okay. I started responding to them, offering advice when I could. And then one day, Jack suggested I start a blog. "You're already spending hours helping these people," he pointed out. "Why not make it official? Share your experience, give people tools to recognize and escape toxic work cultures." So I did, started a simple blog called Know Your Worth. Wrote about my experience, about red flags to watch for, about how to negotiate, about when to walk away. The response was overwhelming. Within 3 months, I had 50,000 followers. Within 6, a publisher reached out about turning it into a book. Within a year, I was being invited to speak at conferences about workplace culture and employee advocacy. And through it all, I kept that framed $8 voucher in my office. Not as a reminder of the bad times, but as evidence of the moment I chose myself. Meanwhile, Clearwater's situation got worse before it got better. The board did bring in an interim CEO, a woman named Barbara Winters who had a reputation for fixing broken cultures. But the damage was done. Within 2 months of my resignation, they'd lost 12 senior employees across various departments. 4 more people quit from my old team alone. The tech platform I'd helped launch started having serious issues because nobody knew the systems like I had. 2 of their 3 new market entries failed within the first quarter. Stock price dropped 15%. I didn't take pleasure in it exactly, but I wasn't sorry either. Actions have consequences, and Clearwater was learning that lesson the hard way. About 8 months after I left, I ran into Arthur Pemberton at an industry conference. He was there in some kind of advisory capacity. He'd officially stepped down as CEO, but was consulting during the transition. I was there as a keynote speaker, talking about sustainable high performance. We ended up in the same elevator, just the 2 of us, going up to the conference level. The silence was thick enough to cut with a knife. Finally he spoke, "Sophia." "Arthur, I saw you're speaking today. Congratulations on the new position." "Thanks." More silence. The elevator climbed slowly. "For what it's worth," he said, not looking at me, You were right about all of it. I got so focused on growth numbers that I forgot about the people generating them. That's on me. I could have said a lot of things. Could have told him that his admission meant nothing, that the damage was done, that sorry doesn't give me back those months of my life. But looking at him, really looking, I saw someone who'd learned the same lesson I had, just from the other side. I appreciate you saying that, I said instead. I hope you're making different choices now. I'm trying, he said. The elevator dinged. We'd reached our floor. He held the door for me. Your speech is right after lunch. Yeah. I'll be there. And he was, sat in the back row and listened to the whole thing. I talked about the importance of sustainable performance, about how burning out your top talent is a losing strategy, about how real leadership means protecting your team's well-being even when it's inconvenient. I talked about working 96 hours in a week and receiving an $8 voucher. The room went silent. Several people were taking notes. A few were nodding like they'd lived similar experiences. When I finished, the applause was loud and long. During the Q&A session, someone asked what advice I'd give to leaders who wanted to build better cultures. Start by actually valuing your people, I said. Not just saying you value them in company emails and all-hands meetings. Actually demonstrate it through your decisions. Pay them fairly, staff adequately, respect their time. And when someone tells you there's a problem, don't dismiss it or minimize it. Listen, because the cost of ignoring it is always higher than the cost of fixing it. After the session, several people came up to talk to me. Executives wanting advice. Mid-level managers sharing their own struggles. Young professionals asking how to recognize toxic environments before they get trapped. And Arthur, he waited until everyone else had gone, then approached. That was a powerful talk, he said. Thanks. I'm going to use some of your points in the consulting work I'm doing, with your permission. I thought about it, permission granted, on one condition. What's that? Tell them where you learned it. Tell them it came from ignoring your best employee until she quit in the most public way possible. Make sure they understand the real cost. He nodded slowly. I can do that. We shook hands. It wasn't forgiveness exactly, but it was closure. My first year at Titanium Capital was everything Clearwater should have been. We hit our targets without anyone working unsustainable hours. My team was fully staffed. I took 3 weeks of vacation and nobody panicked. When I flagged issues, James listened and allocated resources to fix them. And when we had an exceptional quarter, not as big as Clearwater's $394 million, but impressive nonetheless, the company threw a real celebration. Catered dinner for everyone. Bonuses that actually reflected our contributions. And James gave a speech thanking specific people by name, acknowledging concrete contributions. When he got to me, he said, Sophia joined us this year and immediately elevated everything we do. Her leadership, integrity, and refusal to accept mediocrity have made us better. So thank you, Sophia. We're lucky to have you. The applause felt different than it had at Clearwater. It felt genuine. After the event, I drove home and found Jack in the kitchen making dinner. Just a normal Tuesday night, except I was home at a reasonable hour, energized instead of exhausted. How was the celebration? He asked, kissing my cheek. Really good, they actually meant it. Of course they did. I keep telling you, baby, you're worth more than $8. I laughed. We turned it into a running joke, our shorthand for recognizing my value. Later that night, I was updating my blog when I got another email. This one from Victor Finch. Subject line, I owe you an apology. I hesitated before opening it. Did I want to hear from Victor? Did it matter what he had to say? Curiosity won. I clicked it open. Sophia, I've written this email probably 50 times over the past 8 months. I keep deleting it because nothing I say can make up for how I treated you and the team, but I need to say it anyway. You were right about everything. I was a coward who chose the easy path of pleasing executives over the right path of protecting my team. That voucher was insulting, and I knew it even as I was handing them out. I just told myself it was better than nothing, when the truth is it was worse than nothing. It was a symbol of how little I valued the people who made me look good. I was demoted at Clearwater, and honestly, I deserved worse. I'm at a new company now in a senior analyst role, and I'm trying to be better. Learning what real leadership looks like. I wanted you to know that your resignation was a wake-up call for me too. I hope you're doing well. You deserve it. Victor. I read it twice. Then I closed my laptop without responding. Maybe someday I'd write back. Maybe I wouldn't. But for now, I had dinner with my husband to finish, a full night's sleep ahead of me, and a job where I was actually valued. And somewhere in my office, an $8 voucher sat in a frame, reminding me every day of the moment I decided I was worth more. That's the thing about breaking points. They hurt like crazy when you hit them, but sometimes they're exactly what you need to break free.